If you're someone who creates online content and you want to be seen by everybody, and that includes people who maybe are visually impaired or who don't use a mouse or they use some other way of accessing the internet, then this is absolutely the call for you. Today I'm talking to Vic Martin, and she's going to give you some habits so that you can actually achieve all of that. So over to you, Vic.
Okay, so just briefly, because this is a subject that not a lot of people or a lot of people don't even realize exists. Um, because most of us, 80% of us are going around websites, we're looking at the screen and we're clicking with a mouse. And it is very easy to forget or not even realize that that is only about 80% of website users. There's another 20% who either they're using some kind of technology like a screen reader or voice control to navigate, or they're using a keyboard instead of a mouse, or they might just not be very fluent with the web. And that potentially that could be anyone over 40 because we didn't grow up with the internet and we took it on to varying degrees. So they're people who just need a bit more clarity. And then people who have partial sight quite often need to zoom in on things. They might be color blind or they need a lot of contrast in the text. Um, and it's obviously you're helping those people if you make your content accessible to you, but don't forget what you're helping them to do. You're helping them to connect with you by your product. Um, See the information that you're giving and yeah, it's great for your business reputation. It's great for stopping people from bouncing off your website or off your blog as soon as they get there. Um, yeah, so I've got four habits that you can get into. It's a complex subject. If you wanted to make your website completely accessible, can get very complex. But going into the future, there are four good habits that are very, very easy to follow. If you keep these in mind when you're writing your web content, you're going to be a lot better than probably 90% of websites. Okay, so I'm going to get into it. Um, this is probably the most important one. When you're writing an article, you've got headings, you've got subheadings, you might have subheadings, and a lot of people will just make them visually like headings. So they'll use normal text, or they make it bigger or bolder, or maybe a color, and that's fine if you can see the text. Um, but in whatever platform you're using to write, you can always select the piece of text. You'll get a drop down of some kind, and it will give you choices: heading one, heading two, heading three. Um, you need to mark your headings as headings. And you also need to have them in order and not skip levels. And that is essential for any kind of technology that's reading your web page, which could be somebody using voice control or a screen reader, but it also applies to search engine bots. So this one in particular, it's really, really important to have a kind of semantic structure. So you've got heading one, and that is the title of the whole article. And then you've maybe got subheadings, they would be heading two. And then if you've got smaller headings within your sections, they would be heading three. If you're getting up to heading six, that is kind of many layered, but you never want to go from number two to number six without the other ones in between. And the reason a lot of people do skip levels is because it's just set up in their builder or in their on their website, um, the kind of sizes of them, but they can be changed separately. So don't use your levels to just as styling. Um, Remember that the primary use for them is so that machines can understand the structure of the article. And that is it's really, really simple and it will make things so different for any kind of technology that's trying to understand the structure of your article. So that's habit one. Habit two, lots of people know about alt tags. I think they're probably the most kind of famous accessibility slash SEO thing. Um, you can put hidden text on an image that explains what it's of. So if the image is downloading slowly, or if somebody can't see it, then they've got an explanation of what it is. Um, but you should only put something in that field if it gives information that isn't on the page already. So there's obviously, if you've got some kind of patterns and squiggles in between sections or something, they're decorative, leave those blank. Okay. Products that you're selling, and you've got a picture of the product, clearly informative, that needs to have a brief, clear explanation of what the photo is. And then in the middle, massive grey area where you have to decide. And it can get complicated, but the way to make that decision is to look at the image and think, is there anything that I would get from seeing that image that I cannot get from reading the text? So if you've got an article about you should never go out with wet hair and you should always dry your hair, and then there's a photo of a woman with a hairdryer, is that decorative? Is that just an illustration, or is that giving any information? Well, I would say that if you have mentioned hairdryers in the text, then it is actually informative. But if the text doesn't talk about using a hairdryer, then it's decorative. Have I said that the wrong way round?
I'm not
Getting so
sure.
stuck into it now. Yes. If the text mentions hairdryers, then you're not getting anything extra from that image. So you don't need to put an alt tag on it. But it is a big grey area and only you can decide, but it is really worth thinking about. So that's habit number two. Um, habit number three, if you're putting links in your text, it's really common for people to just highlight the words click here and make them into the link. So you've got a paragraph, and for more information on blah de blah, click here. And then they just make click here the link. If you've ever watched a video of somebody going through a page with a screen reader, quite often they're skipping between the links and the screen reader is reading out the links. So it's really important to have the whole bit of text that explains where you're going to go by clicking on that link as the link, if that makes sense.
For example, Vic.
So, for example, to download my PDF, click here. All of that underlined and all of it is a link, rather than to download my PDF and then the link says click here. Because then you've got someone reading through and it's just click here, click here, click here, click here. They don't know what they're clicking on. Okay, so that was number three. What was number four? Do you know what I've got my oh yeah, so um there are um not regulations, but there are guidelines about how contrasty the text should be compared to the background. So a lot of people who are partially sighted, they will look at the screen, but they need the text to be contrasty enough. And there is no need to do your head in, like staring at it, thinking, oh, I think I can see that, or squinting your eyes or whatever. There is a website that you can go on and you can put in the color of your background, the color of your text, and it will tell you if it passes or fails the guidelines. And I can give you the link for that.
Yeah, what is it?
It is webaim.org/resources/contrast checker. But you
Okay.
could just Google check contrast of text and you would, there's probably plenty of other tools, but this is the one that I use. So they are my four very simple habits. If you get into those habits, it's going to be accessible to a lot more people.
Wow, Vic, I mean, those are things that I would never have thought of. And one of the things that I've learnt that I need to do, and that is what you said about click here and not having the full description of what the link is going to. That is really, really interesting, and it kind of obviously it gives accessibility to so many more people, but it really is a bit of a sort of eye opener as well in terms of thinking, gosh, there are more people than I thought who might be struggling to see what I do. Let's make it easier for them, and let's be inclusive. So, thank you so much. I'm going to put all of Vic's links so you can find out more about her in the description below. Do get in touch. She's so lovely, and she's an expert in what she does. She's the WP nurse. I presume that's WordPress nurse.
That stands for WordPress, yeah.
Yeah, thought so. So get in touch, ask her a question and find out what she does. So thank you everyone for watching, and thank you so much, Vic, for your brilliant habits.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Julie.